Hello, my dear ones. Always a pleasure to be able to sit down and go over cases with you and help you get to your goal of wellness. Very important to have that as one of your goals, is feeling good and being happy. You know, I look around this world right now, and of course the negative forces have such a draw and a pull. And the positive people are like struggling to, but you're seeing more and more people turning to the positive side, but also more and more getting influenced by the negative forces. And so you just have to keep your wits about you in a world like this where everything, the mind is in turmoil, the emotions are in turmoil. And the only way to keep yourself free is don't be engaged in using those bodies so much. Be more conscious and use your awareness to navigate your journey. And as you learn this, the freedom and the sense of joy that you have total control in your destiny starts to invade your awareness, and that really changes things, makes you feel a lot better. I got a couple of things I wanted to talk about first. Of course, always negative things, seems like, out there. One comes right after the other. This is true. I think one of you guys had sent this to us, and I just can't believe this. Yeah, I don't know if I should mention your name, but appreciate it, Mr. M. But yeah, I go back to the trial of the girl that was over there and her boyfriend supposedly, and they had some kind of love triangle, and she killed, supposedly really killed this other girl real bad. And I'm trying to remember her name, but that went back and forth, and then she one court let her off, so she came back to the States. A higher court that said, no, we're going to prosecute her again. And I mean, what a messed up. And when I was looking at the Italian law, I just saw things that I really didn't care for. And the sad thing about it, her parents were being, I don't know what, the police were treating her parents not so nicely. And they were telling this to the news, that the police wouldn't treat them right and everything else, and so the police prosecuted them. And I said, I'll never go to Italy. Not when you have this sort of law enforcement there, where you can't speak up and talk about corruption or something, and then they go after you. That's bad. That's real bad. And this just goes right on. Italy threatens jail time for parents raising vegan children, but toxic vaccines and cancer-causing junk food are still legal. Now, I don't know who wrote this and whether that's true or not. Again, there's a lot of things out there, so Italy, I don't know whether this is true, but if it is, about 20, I'd say about 20,000 of you Italians need to get together and visit the Presidente or whoever your guy is, sit down and have a talk with and tell them what you will not put up with. You know, a lot of things need to happen that way, where the people get engaged with each other and realize that we're a one, and that the people we hire to help us and to oversee us and protect us work for us. And I remember when I was in Portugal so much that the Portuguese people, and I can't remember whether it's the War of the Roses or War of the Incarnations, I can't remember, but it seemed like there was 200,000 Portuguese people got, let's just say, roses, and all walks up the Presidente's big mansion there in Lisbon, and pretty much said, you're done, you're out. And he was done, and he was out. I think one person got killed in that revolution, from what I was told, just echoing what I was informed by the Portuguese people. And that sort of thing is how it has to be done. When you get someone up there like Obama or someone, people have to start realizing when you get someone that can't do the job, then it's time to get out and get someone that does. And so this is a sad thing. If this is true, Italy is going backwards into the dark agey time. It is being sucked in by the negative forces. And I feel sorry for the Italian people, because that means that their government's pretty much telling you can't be healthy, just like whoever wrote this article is saying that toxic vaccines, toxic pharmaceuticals are permissible. And this is the sort of thing, when you start having a whole country that's going negative like that, it's kind of bad. because the positive forces is the raw, the vegans. That's just a little minor piece of what else is going on in the upliftment or the awakening periods of time right now. So I don't know what to say about it. You know, if this is true, shame on Italy. Shame, shame, shame. Can't just keep taking people's rights away. This world. So even the heads of state need to protect themselves from the negative forces, because there's a focus to these souls and are used quite a bit in the manipulation of the two forces. So it's just the game out there almost, but that's creation. So I just hope that's not true. I can't imagine any country saying that you can't raise your kids on raw food or you're going to go to jail. That's some serious unconsciousness. And that, I don't know if you'd want leaders like that running a country that you live in to tell you what you can and can't eat and can't give your children. You know, and that's what's rapidly happening. You have to be careful. Be real careful. Because the bump to that is revolution. Because when you're walking back in time, there's going to be a time where the people won't tolerate it anymore, and it creates a revolution. And it's worldwide that way. And these leaders haven't learned that. Only King Arthur, I think, really got that. This is something I want to read to you guys that not pleasant, but it's important because it takes a special person to be a healer at this level. And you have so many souls that have coming and cycling through this level. And as you know, you don't get a how-to book when you enter this level. And so you're left pretty much bumping against your actions and your reactions. So that's how you learn. That's how you mature, is that when you create an action, if you're aware of the reaction, oh, I don't want that. A lot of times your actions don't immediately see a reaction, so that sort of the karmic thing escapes people sometimes, because that karma is in line with others coming your way. Because a lot of people have stacked up karma. It keeps you coming back and working things out until you get it, what they say, get it right, until you awaken. So it takes a special person to be a healer, to put up with the energies involved, because you have a lot of souls and their journeys, and some are going to go on. So I want to read this to you, and we left it posted to show you this, because you could tell this guy was hurting because he lost his friend. But if you can't help someone, please admit that. Now that's how he starts off. And he says, Dr. Morse, take your own advice. My dear friend, who you told would be totally cured from metastatic breast to bone to liver cancer in 3 to 6 months. Well, first of all, when you make a statement like that, you're first of all starting the whole thing off on the wrong foot. You're talking from a sense of pain and misunderstanding. We never tell anybody we cure anybody from cancer. Number two, when you do have tumors and things like this, we tell you, especially when it's all in the bone and everywhere else, no one, and particularly me, is going to tell you we're going to cure you in 3 months. This is something, and this is how things get misstated and mistold. And the other thing is here, he says, you'll be completely cured. We never tell them, because you never know. You never know. And let me go on, because I want to tie this all together to show you this. So this person followed your advice to the letter, eating only grapes, melons, lemons, and drinking herbs for your store for 8 months. 8 months, okay? I don't know. She believed in you and your staff. She banked everything on you. She advised her via Skype and phone calls across the country. You never even met her. I met her on Skype. She died a month ago. Right? So let me say this. When you wake up to what the medical doctors call metastasized cancer. When you wake up to the diagnosis of cancer, you're waking up to a state of high acidosis where you're getting degeneration or atrophy of cells. That's all cancer is atrophy of a cell, which is a mutation and the breakdown of tissue of a cell. And there's only one side of chemistry really responsible for this 99.99999% of the time. And that's the acid side of chemistry. When you come in here, we don't, one guy said to me one day, he had some type of cancer, and he said, I'm going to put my life in your hands. I'm going to trust you. And I looked right at him and I said, no, you're not. I'm not going to cure your cancer for you. First of all, you've got to get out of that understanding of the word cancer and diseases. We don't treat anything. And we definitely don't treat cancer because that's all fabrication. You got to understand what cancer is and what it means and what you're up against when you're awakened to cells that are degenerating and your system is so stagnant your body can't get them to the lymph nodes anymore. That's the problem. When you can't get cells that are damaged to the lymph nodes, then they're stuck in tissue and you just get the destruction of the tissue. So when you come in here, we put you on the highest program on the planet. We save most people. But there's once in a while, my friend, whoever you are making this statement, once in a while there's people you can't save no matter how perfect you follow and how perfect you said, and no one has ever said, and I've never said, you'll be totally cured. But, and this is very important, now let me see if the rest of this is on here at all. Okay, she told you her just 3 weeks before she passed that the doctors in the ER were wrong. You were wrong. Perhaps, I don't know what he's talking about there. You were wrong. Perhaps there was little any doctor could do. We'll never know. You'll never know. There's no cure, AMA-wise, from metastatic cancer. But there's no cure basically of cancer itself. They're just burning you up. They're just frying your cells, and if you're in remission, and still in remission after 5 years, meaning you still got it, but we're burning it, and we're beating it back. After 5 years, they call that a cure. When you're at these final stages, my friend, you're lucky if you can save these people, and it's not me. This lady had to save herself. We don't save people. We walk with you. We teach you. But you have to do the work yourself. Look at all the fine YouTubers here that have cured themselves of everything under the sun. Because they took the strength and they did it themselves. This lady, yes, we gave her the best advice out there. That is the best advice. And when you're up at those levels, about 95% of the people make it. 95% of the people make it. Not 5% of the people pass. In the AMA, it's the opposite. It's the opposite. So when you have a lady that can't make it with us, they're not going to make it. I don't know of too many people that's still alive that we couldn't get that went somewhere else and got help. There are not too many of those still alive on the planet. And if there is, it's one. Because we nobody's perfect, but when you're looking at a chronic lymph situation where you have it, where your lymph now is frying your bones and your liver and this and this, you're in trouble. Your race is to see if you can make it. Now here's the thing. I always give hope and I always give positive attitude and I always will. I never look at someone and say, I'll try. We'll see if you can make it or not. I never do that. I always give hope that yes, you have a good chance to make it. And most people do. We have the proof to show you. This isn't just coming out of our heads. We have the proof that we show you. That's our success rates. And we're proud of them. We're proud of what we do with people. And once in a while, you guys, we've had YouTubers that have helped people that they couldn't make it. Several. And they don't go bananas and crazy because somebody tried their damnedest to help somebody and they couldn't make it. You do the very best you can, my friend. It's up to each and every one of us to take our foot out and to really try to get into our bodies and get it well. But when you're so chronic that your tumors are popping up in multiple places, you're in a race. to get your kidneys filtering and get yourself well. And we're not perfect. When we started with the healthy and we started adding the more dry fasting, we started getting quicker success at kidney filtering. But there's a long learning curve on this planet in the relationship to health, and those that have taken their whole lives, added to their genetics, eaten acidically, and now they're waking up to degeneration in multiple places, and you're going to do your best to help them turn this around. So that's all I can say to someone that has this kind of comment, because we know you're hurting. We don't celebrate someone that don't make it, but you're losing your spirituality in these comments. And your comments come from an emotional or a lower level process. Spiritually, this soul is just using this body that didn't understand how to keep it well and lost it. Okay? We all do that. And we're all going to lose our bodies, including the gentleman or whoever wrote this article. Or this beat up thing. You're going to pass too, man. We're all going to pass. This is on, off here. And if you don't keep your body healthy, it can't sustain this world, and no one has known the answers. So finally, we put it all together pretty good, but you guys are doing it. So, coming in with a lot more information and stuff, and I'm excited to the future of all this, of course. But you're going to get this once in a while where you get the fact that this person's suffering from the loss of a friend. But beating us up is not going to help it. And saying things that are untrue, like we told you, you're going to be totally cured. We don't even talk that way, man. That's not even out of our verbiage, and not out of Marcy's verbiage, and not out of Attila's verbiage. I make sure of that. Because we're in the business of helping people get well. We're not in the business of walking the road for them. It's impossible. You have to become a participant, an active participant in your wellness. And you have no clue to what this journey of this soul's on, and people have to get with that. You got a friend that's advanced, and it's their time to go. No matter how well you follow any protocol, you're going to go. But what are you going? You're moving out of the physical realm. Remember, you're a consciousness. You're this giant, not even a being, really. You're consciousness. You're awareness. You come out of the Godhead. You're just looking through the eyes of a physical body. When that physical body no longer can be inhabited by the energy of that soul, you pull back from that. And that's all this individual, when she passed or he passed, they just pull back. It's not like it's some catastrophe that the world just caved in because this soul's time was and the journey was. People have to get more spiritual and start opening their consciousness up instead of looking right at it like this gentleman. Focusing right at, and that's ridiculous. So it just kind of exposed the fact that this person couldn't see the world spiritually and understand that we're all going to come off of this rock. But we're all going to come off a lot of rocks. You've got to, that's why I keep talking about getting to the self again. Becoming awake gives you the greatest security you could ever want, because you are now a being that cannot be destroyed, that cannot be hurt. You're away from the merandings and the up and down and the positive and negative flows of the mind currents. You're not lost in emotional entrapments with chains around your neck, what makes you say things that are untrue and things that are way out there, not understanding how life works. And I think humans deserve the right to be able to pull out of these human states of consciousness. There's so many of them. You can visit any state of consciousness you want. There's multiple states of consciousness to the human psychic. And you can enter any of them you want. But remember, who are you that's entering into these states of consciousness? You are the consciousness, the awareness of all of your journey, period. And that doesn't change at death. When you lose your physical body, you don't go dark. You don't go unaware. You awaken more. The light becomes more intense, more powerful, more love, more peaceful. You're pulling out of a warring dimension right now. So you should never feel sorry for people that can't make it. It's their turn to go. This is a hellhole if you haven't noticed. These young children watching our videos and stuff, these guys, I feel for them because they're up against so much corruption and narcissism and elitism and the World Bank thinking and things like this. It's a mess. But it has to change, and they're going to be responsible for changing it. But you can't allow countries like Italy and things to pass laws that say you can't eat raw foods. I just can't imagine that. I just can't imagine that. So I wanted to go over this with you to show that I know this person's hurting, but no matter how hard that you try sometimes, guys, with helping others, they just can't make it. And it's nothing you're doing wrong whatsoever. Remember, these people are coming to you on their last shoestring. The medical profession can't help them at all. Especially when what they call metastasized simply means that you finally awaken to the fact that this is a systemic problem and you're being burned in multiple places. Then when you do the chemo and the radiation kind of stuff, then you burn even more, and then you want people to try to save you from that when you wake up to the fact that they just destroyed your body, and now you're feverishly looking for someone that can save you. So I get that. I get it in the heart a lot. If there's any heart guy around here, I'm a heart guy. You guys get that by now, don't you? So you should never feel bad if someone has to go. You should never feel bad. Matter of fact, if you know they're going to go and your friend and you've been out of your body and stuff, go talk to them and give them some succor. Let them know that, because they'll start seeing their guides toward the time they're going to be pulled away. They're going to start seeing their spiritual guides and stuff. This isn't a bad experience that suddenly, someone couldn't save me and I was too advanced, and then, no. You got to change your attitude on this, because all of us are going to be taking that journey out. And you don't want to go screaming and fighting for what? Out of this world into the heavens? Oh, you want to go, take me. I'm ready, baby. Exactly. So much more fun, so much more beauty. A lot, not warring like this area. This area is so warring. But I wanted to comment on this because it's sadness to see this person taking off on a rant like this when it's untrue, making untrue statements. And it leaves us out there like we're saying stuff that isn't true and giving people promises that we can't keep and stuff like that. And that's all ridiculous. Totally ridiculous. We don't operate in that way. And I've always had the philosophy that you created the problem. I'll walk with you. I'll help you down the road with it, but you got to walk the walk. How can I walk your walk? See? And that's true with all masters or all spiritual guides and stuff like that. They're not going to walk your walk. If they tell you they will, that's a guru that's trying to get you. You don't want to go that route. So I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about, something about the ER, sending her to the ER or something. I don't know. Who knows? The trouble with ER docs is they don't understand what's going on in detoxification. And of course, when you get an advanced case like this, all that applies, what's going on there. But I tell you what, your kidneys are so important that you've got to get them filtering. If you can't get your kidneys filtering, it's possible this lady didn't get her kidneys filtering. If you don't get your kidneys filtering, the outcome isn't good. That's the problem in the first place. And I don't see anything good of coming with you can't get them filtering. And I don't know all the things of not getting the kidneys filtering, between the dry fasting and the juices and the astringents and the herbs for the kidneys and everything like this. About the top of the heap, maybe some kidney glandulars help to turn that on a little bit. But when you have serious stagnation in the kidneys, it takes a while to open up stagnation. When you're chronic at these, when you're diagnosed with a cancer, this is degeneration. It takes lifetimes to get your tissues to that point of degeneration, and of course a real stagnant lymph system. And then of course you get burned up that way. So anyway, I just wanted to go over that and show you that we're never happy to see someone that we're working on not make it. Excuse me. But with that said, there's a bunch of people that are just not going to make it out there. A bunch of souls, it's time, their journey's time to go. Lose the fear of leaving this world. This is the lowest, most chemical world of creation that exists. And it is very inert. Just to read some of the books from people that have had near-death experiences and out-of-body experiences, they had nothing. When you become a conscious or more conscious out-of-body traveler, not just a near-death experience, or you have a guide that's taking you consciously into the God worlds, the cities, the landscapes, the jeweled cities, the books are in energetic forms of light. I can't even describe to you the beauty and ecstasy that you can find away from this inert world. So when it's time, I'm ready, because you're going to much higher, greater, aware place. And you're not lonely, you're full of packing, because everybody has all these bodies too. There's no loneliness. There's aloneness because only you are on your journey. But there's no loneliness because there's tons of friends around. This lady wasn't alone. She had her spiritual guides and people there taking her right out, time to go. Couldn't make it. You should never feel like it's the end of the world if you have a friend that it's time to go. Maybe they need to get in another body. They've had it here. You know, this is all dictated not by us, not on your life. We have nothing to do with that. We tell you everything to do that's right and proper, chemistry and everything, that most people make it from it. And if you can't, then your time to go. That's all there is to it. But we send that soul great love, you know. And hopefully that individual will learn some things by viewing this tape and looking at it a little differently. You know, because you never know whether a person's going to make it or not. I've seen people that should have made it, didn't make it. I had the I had the superintendent of New York City schools. Pancreatic cancer. Little bitty tumor. And I looked at him, I said, listen, man, if you don't get this, it's your fault. Well, you know, we saw him in Cracker Barrel one time eating fried chicken and stuff, and I didn't know he was still smoking. You couldn't even smell it on him. He'd make sure he didn't smell like it coming in here, so he was still smoking. But the reason he wasn't over taking care of himself, he hated his wife. He hated his wife. He told me he couldn't get rid of her. She was such a Hitler person, and he killed himself. And there are those people out there that do that. And it's like, man, I've cleaned up people 10 times worse than you. And he didn't eat right. He just killed himself. He didn't want to live. He went through the motion. Maybe that made him feel good. Who knows? But the responsibility of each and everybody's health is in each and everybody's own hands. And we have a lot of years. I have 45 years of a great history of regeneration and saving people that others can't. Getting people out of wheelchairs, getting people that are just emaciated and crippled up and can't totally regenerated. So we have a great history of that. But you can't save everyone. Sometimes it's your time to take a ride, and it's the best ride you've been on for a long time. So you have to look at that, and our spiritual leaders need to be there and helping these souls, but they don't know because they've never had these experiences themselves. You know, when you have a priest, and I've talked to I've had a lot of priests as clients. I've had a lot of ministers, of course, and a lot of nuns, but they don't get it. They don't understand God. They teach it and they devoted their life to it, but God is something outside of them. And they've never made the journey out of body. They've never made the journey to the Godhead where they see themselves as part of the Godhead. Therefore, they can't teach that. They can only echo what the books say. And that's what the books say. Especially when you get into the other 23 Gospels. You Christians out there, get a hold of the other 23 Gospels. Not Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Get the other 23 Gospels and read them. You'll have another greater sense of what Jesus was saying. And that whole clan. And the Essenes. And their thinking and their awareness. Beautiful. Just beautiful. Raw foods. And beautiful back then. Back then, raw foods, same type of thing. Raw foods have been taught since the beginning of time. Difficult for societies to accept that. Amazingly, isn't it? But it's just at different levels of consciousness. But the beauty is when you use these very limited worlds to gain your experiences and strength and to tone you, and then you get your freedom and your discipline. and your awareness, and then you're free. It's just, it's everything. So I'm sorry about that, but I had to read that to you, because you have to know that when you work on people, some of them are just not going to make it. They're too advanced, and you're doing everything you can to save them. Everything you can. Our heart is always in the right places, and your heart always needs to be in the right place. There's very few people that can save people on this planet like we can. Very, very few. So this gentleman doesn't even realize that yet, that there's just no place to go. And so I'm proud of each and every one of you guys for hanging in there and helping others, and do not ever let someone like this tear you down, because this person's hurting too, and they're just lashing out because they don't get it. You know, everybody, all of us try to save everyone. We don't sit there and not, you know. But remember, the beauty and the ecstasy and the joy, the happiness, the fun is on the other side. You're on a warring planet right now. So sometimes it's better to tell your buddies to go have some fun and get off of this hellhole. This is Leland. I recently completed a 24-day water-only fast. Oh, that's interesting. How did you do? My body odor seemed to get better. Yeah, it's because, you know, when you smell yourself, that's from the proteins in your life. And once you get all those proteins and stuff cleaned, all these acids cleaned up, remember, you don't smell anymore. There's no stink anymore. You can always tell someone that eats meat because they stink. But once I started eating again, it came back with a vengeance. You're right, Leland. I mean, you're just experiencing. Said, here's Leland. He's just experiencing reality here. And oh, yeah. Well, it was the meat. You know, it was the proteins. But that's how you prove to yourself that that's true. Because some of you got to prove some of this to yourself. You can't believe everything I say. You want to really experience this because it's fun to go, look, I don't stink anymore. As bad as I sweat. The last couple of days I've been with a lot of friends, and moving a lot of friends. And of course my friends are plants. So I've had some big plants I've been moving. And I went through at least three sets of clothes yesterday. At least 3 sets of clothes. And I bet my shirt was at least 10 pounds. Each one of them. That's what it's about. You get out and you work and you enjoy life and nature and you interact, but you always want to keep the ecstasy and joy of the moment. And when you're in the moment, then you can be in the moment with your plants. You can be in the moment with your animals. You can be in the moment with your lover. And you can always be in the moment with these, and even a higher level still. So it's just so beautiful here. I'm now doing the master fast, and the kidneys aren't filtering like they should yet. Yeah. And again, let's all keep working on our kidneys, because, you know, that's the people that don't make it are the ones where the kidneys aren't filtering. And sometimes, you know, you get your kidneys filtering 3 or 4 months down the road, 3 or 4 months down the road. Now, what's interesting about this one lady is she passed 8 months later. Generally, 8 months. My God, in 8 months, you should be able to regenerate anything. So, curious, you know, you have to get all the facts to a case and take a look at it and see what happened to them and what they were really doing or not doing, you know, because you can't take a third party. I've had people sit here and lie up a streak to me, and I look right at them and say, you're not being truthful, are you? And they bow their head and no. You can tell. I can tell you when you're doing wrong, when you're not. You can tell. Come on. But I like your thinking, Leland. I'm also on 9 of your tinctures, and my body odor is to the point where after I shower and have scrubbed under my arms that it's still there. Holy moly. Keep going, man. Keep going. Come to Florida, sweat your butt off. Get these lymph nodes opened up and cleaned, you know, because that's really, yeah, you got to do this, because what you're smelling is the very thing that chews up tissue, putrefaction, acids, absolutely, proteins. Wow. And that's still there no matter how much soap is used. Wow. Woo! So you got to push through it, man. You got to push through it. You can't stop. You got to push through it. You push through it. One of these days you go, I don't stink. I don't stink. But get yourself a sweating bad, because that means your lymph nodes are backed up and holding, and probably subcutaneous under the skin. So I'm guessing it's lymphatic waste trying to leave the body and can't. Thoughts? Yep. You're right, Leland. Right on. See, and that's why I like you guys are really getting it. And once you get it, then you work it. You know, and you work it and you work it and you work it and you work it. And just like Leland's doing, he's working it. It's his lymph, it's stagnant lymph. You know, the best way, again, I keep going back to this, but Leland, take a picture of your eyes and take a look at your lymph system and see what you see. You know, you could be in a chronic state of lymph tear, and it's going to be a while before this stuff clears. But it will clear, guaranteed. I mean, everybody cleans up like that. Fruits, berries, melons, and vegetables do not leave body odors. Milks, dairy products, animal products, whoo-hoo, they're the worst. Oh, they're the worst. Beans, they have some stinks and grains, but nothing like your animal products. Yuck. Leland, good job, bro. Keep hitting it. Keep hitting it. Dig in, dig in, dig in, but you're right. But get yourself sweet, my friend. This is Karlie. Hello, Karlie, honey. Hi, Dr. Morse. God bless you, sweetheart. You don't have to worry about it. He already does bless you. You're part of it. Part of it. You know, you guys don't sell yourselves too short. You know, our priests and preachers haven't been doing that good of a job, because they should have let you know that you're a part of the all. That you come from the all. You're only playing here. This is only your soap opera. If you don't like the channel, change it. Then you're in another planet or another dimension that has different looks to them. And you're in another drama with other beings, maybe even your families. Because remember, all the people you've been around, you've created karma with. And if you haven't worked that out, when you withdraw from this planet, you'll be right there with them, because they have their emotional bodies too. They're not that far. You know, they say the line between creation and consciousness, or the creator, is a thin razor's edge. My question is, after all these years that you have put in a ton of time and effort to help people heal themselves, and being around a lot of conditions, in your opinion, what is the toughest condition to heal? That's a good question. I would say, like this one thing I read you here, I would say an individual that has popped up several hot spots all over the place where they, you know, the lymph system has been backed up and they've got tumors. I have a gentleman that I've used for years to take down big trees, or, you know, limb cutting and stuff like that. And I just called him up. I needed some trees removed. I think I got some boll weevils in one. And so his wife says he woke up to lung cancer and 7 tumors in the brain. I said, 7 tumors in the brain on top of lung cancer? I said, you get him down to my office tomorrow. He never showed up. So I've got to call him and see if he's still. I'm going, oh my God. So that's going to be a tough one, because he's at the level of consciousness where a fruit diet would be the biggest stretch you could make. You know, so we'll see. But that would be a tough case. Type 1, been on insulin for a lot of years. Yeah, but not impossible. Marcy, you know, she's at the point where she's kind of balancing out a little bit. So, but she could have had that done a year ago. Easy. So it's just hanging in there at a level that's hard to do for people, especially type 1s. You know, we just had a case that came in here. I forget, it was Germany, I think. The surgeon removed his pancreas, his gallbladder, and I don't know what else. So he wrote in and he's saying, well, I guess I'm stuck on insulin. I said, he didn't tell you, your doctor didn't tell you that? Removing the pancreas? So, in what you guys have been taught here, if you have, I mean, when you remove the pancreas, you might as well pass. I mean, you might as well go on and have some fun in a light body that doesn't have organs and glands in it. Because, life's going to be difficult. And you have to fix the system that broke these tissues down. And, of course, that's the lymph system on top of this. But your pancreas is your main digestive organ for your amino acid, for your proteins and your polys and down into your aminos. That's essential. That's your pancreatic duct. That's your bicarbonates in the duct. I don't know if they removed the duct. They probably did. So I don't know. Maybe they left just the duct. But your islands of Langerhans, they're gone. That's your beta cells for insulin. And so how do you live? And then your oils, they're gone because that's the gallbladder. So how do you deal with oil metabolism? So this poor guy, so what lifestyle is the only lifestyle this gentleman, and how would you deal with this? I want to finish this, so I'm sorry for jumping in here on this, but how you would deal with that when someone comes to you and they have no gallbladder and no pancreas. In other words, their digestive organs pretty much are gone. Digestive enzymes? Well, you could, and probably would have to, but you would want these made for you because you wouldn't want, first of all, you wouldn't want any protein in your world. No, not without a pancreas or gallbladder, because you wouldn't want that. And you'd have to be very cautious about pH levels in what's left of the small bowel, because they cut out part of his duodenum, which is the main digestive part of the small bowel. So basically they've removed his ability to digest anything. So here's the advice I gave him. I said, listen, man, you're going to be a fruitarian. You got to live on fruit, and I don't know how much you can eat it, but I would digest it here in your mouth. Very similar enzymes like amylase that's in the pancreas, but doesn't have your trypsin and thymotrypsin and all that. But this will help digest your carbohydrates, which is your main energy sources in the first place. So I just chew like you're digesting, and of course stay on fruit. Why? Also because insulin is used for glucose only, not fructose. So if you don't have any insulin producing cells anymore, what do? Well, you can be on insulin, but why not eat the food where you don't even need to use insulin? Pretty interesting, huh? So there are positive things to fruit eating in areas like this, even where an individual just had a surgeon just go nuts and literally, just say, basically, you just have a short period to live when I remove all your digestive abilities. So that's something to think about, how would you address that sort of thing? Then you have to go back and fix the lymphatic problems that broke down these tissues in the first place. So that one would be a tough case. That one would be a tough case, honey. That one would be tough. You could use some digestive enzymes. I would say get one without HCl, because again, the difficulty is when you mix HCl and acid with your amylase and ptyalin, which is base, you neutralize each other. And part of the digestive enzyme problem was they're digesting themselves. So they're going to try to have a time release where the hydrochloric acid is first, but you don't use hydrochloric acid in fruits. And if you do, it's very minute, because the amino acid structures are simple and easy to break down, so minimal. So that's why it's always better for all conditions. So that's a tough case as well. Well, Hildy is a good example of a tough case, and it speaks to her tenacity. And Karen, all of you guys had tough cases of yourself. But when you're pretty much bedridden and you're starting to see the augmentation of your limbs, and you lose your joints, and you're pretty much going down to the fetal position, which is where Hildy was moving herself. I think that these are tough cases, and you want that person to be a Hildy who said, I'm not going to take this. I'm not going to sit here and take this. I found the answers. Now I'm going to take those answers and apply them, and I'm getting my body out of this. That shows the spiritual level that Hildy's at. That soul, very powerful soul behind that little body, Hildy. But it requires that to survive right now. Take a look around. You have to be a strong person to survive. If if you're weak-minded and weak emotionally, boy, you're getting chewed up. And so if you are, try to strengthen yourselves up. If you're in a very abusive relationship, start changing your diet, get stronger, 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 and make your plans to exit. Don't sit there and just take it, ladies. Some of you ladies just sit there and take it. Well, some men do too, you know. There are some women that can be very abusive. I know of a couple. So it's a good question. Consider type 1 diabetes to be one of them? It does. It does. For some in type 1, they can just knock it out. Matter of fact, look at examples. Marcy. She's got 2 or 3 type 1s off of their insulin, and yet she keeps messing with herself. She can way off of that. And that's after 35 years. I'm on the diet and I'm really enjoying all these fruits, but will I ever get to the point where I can eat, let's say, a bit of cake without injecting synthetic insulin? Absolutely. But again, I would make sure that you're, 2 things, honey. Get those adrenals up, because that's sugar metabolism. And then, of course, get the pancreas in the eye that's healthy. Just get your lymph system cleaned up and take the pancreatic formula and keep working with that. And taking as less insulin as possible as you deal with that. And then, after a while, when everything seems to be balanced out for a while, try a piece of cake. See where you're at. You know, you got to see where you're at sometimes and see what your blood sugars are doing. You know, keep working on that. I'm staying hopeful, and we'll keep going. Yeah, because no matter what you're up against and the level you're up against, here's another problem. If we were all on the same level of problems and weaknesses, then we could make definitive statements to some degree, because we could use socialism, we could use all what we know and do some studies. And then say, well, you know, everybody's at the same level, and this many people does this, and this many people gets cured from type 1 at this level of time, and we could do all that. The problem comes in is the individuality of it all, and that's what's confusing for some people who have a lady here that can't make it, but a lady over here at the same level makes it. What's the difference? Well, some's a little deeper problem. Some, it deals much more into the emotional bands and into the karmic bands, where these souls are, it's their time. And they have a much more to deal with, maybe on the emotional or astral level. Sometimes the emotions are so suppressed that the adrenals, I've seen people do everything right, but their adrenals just sit there. It's just like, I'm not budging. And sometimes that inner unhappiness or that inner whatever just locked you down, or some karma from that, some trauma sometimes just shut you down. And that's why you keep working. What else you doing? And by the way, you're getting your other parts of your body healthy, to where look how good you feel, how light you feel, how sweet you smell, all the good stuff. You don't bleed. I mean, all the positive things. You just keep working those cells. That's all you can do. The thing with type 1 is so much more genetics involved. Type 2, not so much. You don't have to have a genetically weak adrenal gland to get into type 2. You could have a lot of lymphs shutting down the adrenal to doing that. But as a rule, type 1 is genetics big time. So this takes a while to remember cells. But staying 100% raw is the key, because you're taking in energy and consciousness and chemistry, and that regenerates the tissue.
If you would, come see me when you're done.
Okay.
Okay?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, absolutely.
Thanks.
Boy, we have, they're 4-laning our highway in front of us, and they're working out there. I'm telling you, they got another year to do. Wow, let me see here. This is from Goran, Goran. The last name is Paradjina. These are my symptoms for 6 years already. You know, for some reason it feels like I've talked about this, but let's go through this. All right, this person has heavy migraines. All right, so the first thing you got to do is start relieving the pressure out of the back of the head and get the stomach settled down. Get your stomach settled down. Get in the marshmallow teas, or get on the 14-week protocol where we're getting into stomach and bowel formulas and GI brooms and things like this. Cooling, getting away from acid ingestions and things like this. As we start pulling all this lymph and all this inflammation out, these migraines go away. the spasms quit going away. You could use an antispasmodic to help you with that. And just stay on it regularly with your kids. Should keep the migraines down until you clean up the bowels, and get all the pressure and stuff out of the head area. Eye floaters, so we're into eye floaters, heavy photosensitivity and irritability to light. Well, here's the thing. You have to make yourself get out into the light. You have to get out. Those of you that live indoors, you can't. You have to have full spectrum lighting to stay really healthy. And even if you don't have to lay in the sun, but certainly have to get out in the sun and things, because the less you do and the more acidic you get, the more photosensitive you get. And we got people around here with sunglasses wrapped around their head twice, and they're driving these cars barely seeing. That's no way to live. So you go blind that way. So really, you're too acidic for one thing. That big time up here, that's not good. And then, of course, eye floaters, we hope that's just mucus floaters. But it could be, parts of the retina or pupil, because, with a weak parathyroid gland and a lot of acid, you can chip off some hunks and chunks. But I'd get the eye wash and start using it morning and evening. It'll start pulling a lot of mucus out of your eyes and stuff, but it'll help. But internally is the issue. Dandruff, well, that's just part of this whole thing. See how he's putting this all together to where they're all up in the head area, a lot of them. The migraines can come from stomachs. Any headaches up here can come from stomachs. But dandruff, that's your lymph system in the head. That means you have stagnation down below and it's oozing out your scalp. That's not good. You don't want that. It'd be like seeing flaky skin on the bottom of a baby. No, these are acids and you want them off the scalp, and you don't want them oozing through the skin. You want them being carried through the lymphatic system, right? Are we talking about the lymphatic system for the skull? Because the University of Virginia's lymphatic system is in the brain. Just saying. So that dandruff is that's a first sign that you're backed up lymphatically, and that this is oh my God, you got to get this cleaned out, because this is how you relate to this world. Tons of food allergies, so that's lymphatic right off. When you have an allergy, lymphatic right off. What, blood? No, lymphatic. And that says that your lymphatic system is backing up. It starts with being allergic to a few things, and then a few things more, and then a few things more, and then pretty soon you can't have anything. Can't have fruits, you can't have anything. Yeah, we have to bust through these sometimes, clean all this out, and you're done. Extreme mood changes, happy, depressed, food, beverage intake, direct dependent. Well, you really want to go in and defungal the body. Then you have to go into the endocrine glands, because when you're looking at mood changes and things like this, you're looking at two possibilities. All right? Given the external circumstances isn't one of them, okay? One, of course, is going to be your endocrine glands, and of course depression and things. You could have just like what they call a Brady-Tachy syndrome. That means your heart rate will go slow, and then speed up, and then go slow, and then speed up. We call it Brady-Tachy syndrome. Well, same thing could happen with parathyroids and other things, where you have depression for a little bit, and then everything's good, and depression a little bit. You can have an on-off type of thing. Whenever you see that sort of thing, you know stimulation is involved with this, and that acids are part of that, because most of the stimulants are acids. So you can denote that you got inflammation building in places when you see this back and forth thing. And then fungus can really, put a grind on your moods and stuff. Cold chills, warmth in chest, no pain. Well, I would take a look at my thyroid, and I just, like I say, that upper, just what you said above really kind of reeks of parathyroid, and then what you're saying here with cold chills, that's thyroid. So check your basal temperatures under it, particularly when you get into the cold chills. Check your underarm basals to see how low you dumped. Now here's the thing. He's got eye floaters. He's got dandruff. So he's got a lot going on up here, doesn't he? So, what are we saying here? He's got a lot going on up there. So you have to surmise that possibly, his pituitary could be suppressing his thyroid and parathyroid. He could be having a lot of inflammation here, spasming, causing the migraine. Excuse me, I've been trying to pull this mucus out of me for a while. And at the same time, because his pituitary is spasming because there's so much inflammation, there's so much acidosis, that it's shutting down, turning on and off the thyroid and parathyroid gland. This is possible. So when you're going, just like a migraine doesn't happen all the time, but when it does, you're into spasms. So that's the sort of thing that might be going on here with you. Irregardless, the cause is always the same. Remember, all the body is a bunch of cells with two fluids that supply, one, the nutrition and help carry the metabolitic waste out of the human body. Any one of those systems go down, you're in trouble, but the last one won't kill you for a while. It just make you suffer and be full of pain for a while. Then it'll kill you. It's a lot easier to die with blood problems because you die pretty quick. 3 minutes, 4 minutes, you're done. But with the lymph system, you have years and years, as most like Hildy and a lot of you can talk about, Karen, and a lot of you guys can talk about the pains and things you went through for years. Sad stuff. Anxiety, of course, food connected, but again, remember, food connection also is vibrational connection, and some of the vibrational frequencies of food is so bad that just the frequency of the food can shut down your body. Remember homeostasis. Remember how we talked about that when you dump a bucket of water into the ocean, you raise the whole ocean? Because there's a law of homeostasis where everything seeks a balance. Yeah. So you have to look at that. But you want to get in and dig into this adrenal glands big time. So remember that when you're ingesting food, there's a frequency there, and that frequency can lower you or put a smile on your face. Watch when you eat food how you feel afterwards. How does your stomach feel? Do you feel full and like food is just? How do you feel? What's your body? Listen to your body for a while. Don't get too much body consciousness going because you'll feel the blood boiling through it. So you don't want to get too body conscious, because I went that way first and I had to get away from my body because you get too body, you feel every little ache and pain. Every little thing you feel. Can't get out of there. You got to get out of the body a little bit. Pull back a little bit. But frequency, when you have degeneration in the body, frequency is everything to either rebuilding it or taking it on down to hell will. So the different foods you're eating can pull the frequencies of cells down further and further and further. Remember, fruits are about 12,000, but when you meats cooked are 0, no electromagnetic energy left. Vegetables cooked about 1,000. We need 6,000 to be alive and awake. At least 6,000. Fruits are up here at 12,000. Vegetables are down about 9. Even vegetables will make you more awake because they're more frequency than most humans have. We should be frequency. Imagine you have double your systemic energy, double your consciousness that you have right now. Woo! 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 Wow! Wow. But we're eating to keep our energy right there. We're eating dead things, dehydrated things, and things that are dried, like beans and grains, and then trying to enliven them and stuff like that. We need trees and plants. They juice them up, give them to us, and we go, thank you, my friends, and chew them down. And they turn us on and enliven us and bring our energies way up there. If you want to die, eat dead food. Cook food. So when you have cases that's dying, you don't put them on cooked food. Unless you're in Italy, that's going to pass this law, if they do, that says if you have raw foods, basically you need to go to jail. It's like, what? Sounds like whoever's going to pass that needs to go to jail to me and contemplate as he's sitting on the toilet for a lifetime of constipation eating meat and dairy. Ugh. I've never had any pain from gallbladder unless migraines after intake of certain foods. So you think you might have a little gallbladder going on? Would that be the lymphatic system? You might want to do, take about 2 months, take the liver gallbladder formula, clean yourself out, or even a month, and do a liver gallbladder flush. Clean them out. Clean it out. Tickles your eyes. Make sure there's no major degeneration of the liver or gallbladder. And then do a liver gallbladder flush. Clean them out. You'll start cleaning and opening up your doors. That's the thing. Doctors never could help anything. They suggested some stupid things until I found one woman who is very good at her job. She is simply professor of eating habits and bioinformatics specialist. Wow. She tested me on dicor, I can't even, bioresonance device. Got to be careful with these though, guys. She found out that my main problems are gallbladder, still a major problem. Look at your eyes. That's not that you don't have to relate on a machine and the possibility of misinterpretation and everything. Your eyes have it right there. You get to see it. Boom, 5-color glossy right in your face. That's what you need. Liver still major problem. Look at your eyes. Colon. Now perfect condition. 5 months now of continuous antibacterial parasite program. Don't be mad at me. But there's literally no one with a healthy colon. And because this person told you that, I lost all my trust right there. Because no one on this planet has a healthy colon. There's some that look pretty dang good for being 2016. But we know our field is the GI tract. For years, the GI tract. I mean, I was born and bred on the GI tract. So I can just tell you, when someone tells you after going through this machine, you're clean and green, next. Because you're forgetting, just because you're parasitic free, big deal. And you want parasites, so you don't want the ones that are in for the wrong foods. You get the proteolytics in there for the proteins. They're not happy people. E. coli's and stuff like this. Lymph, now perfect condition. See what I'm saying? Don't be mad at me, Goran, but you do not believe in this person. Wrong. No one, even better yet, I can state no one has a perfectly clean lymphatic system on this planet. And if you find me one, I'll give him $1,000 right now. Well, I'll find it, but I can borrow it. There's just no way. No way possible. No way. I don't care if you lived on an island, mostly fruit. No way possible in today's world. So, she's kicking you, man. And this is not good. Not good. This is a person now that thinks their lymph system's clean and everything is hunky-dory. It's like, no. Look at the symptoms up above. So, I'm doing Dr. Hilda Clark's liver cleanse, Epsom, olive oil. I don't know why people use Epsom salt. Hilda Clark was not that smart. Sorry, guy. I knew Hilda Clark. She come from the town I'm from. Olive oil, grapefruit. Grapefruit, I would do the grapefruit. Definitely over the lemon. It'll keep the nausea down a little better than lemon. 9 times now. All right, so I'm doing Dr. Hilda Clark's liver cleanse, Epsom, olive oil, grapefruit 9 times now, and only 2 times there was more than 100 green stones. You know what? I probably would take a break from that because you know how you get, this liver gallbladder flush, how it works, right? That's why, what's the main ingredient of a liver gallbladder flush? It isn't the salt. We don't use salt. We don't use Epsom salts. But that's wrong. Big time wrong. But we do use the olive oil and we also use the grapefruit. Now, what does a cup of olive oil do to the liver gallbladder? It spasms it. It spasms it. And that pushes out the stones. So you're spasming your liver and gallbladder that's in trouble 9 times. See where I'm going with this? So you've had enough of that. You got a lot of little stones out. They'll come out anyway when you start detoxing properly. So you don't have to worry about doing it anymore. That's for sure. Yeah, you got to realize what you're doing. I remember a lady that did the liver gallbladder flush. She started getting pieces of her liver out. Wrong way to do it. Every other 6 times was just chefs. I've been doing cleanses every 15 days, strictly periods for 5 months non-stop. Oh my God, man. You could back up a little bit. You know, that's not how you get well. It's keep insulting and spasming your liver gallbladder. See, these people leave these things up like that. They little experience in clinic. Hilda Clark wasn't a clinician. Little experience in clinicals. Some of the stuff she said was flat wrong. Cure to all cancer, the cure to HIV, cure to all diseases, You don't write books like that. That's what got her in trouble with the prosecutor of my hometown. He went after her for treating diseases, writing books on that. So thing that got better is my dandruff. Well, see, you're not doing anything to get better. Just because you pop some stones out of the liver, you're not doing anything to get better. Liver gallbladder flushes don't regenerate and rebuild the human body. Something that got dandruff got a little better. Color of the skin is changing, but still have dandruff on my head, body. See, it is not doing anything really. In mid-time, I went on ultrasound, and they told me I have folded gallbladder, so that's why I'm cleansing so slow, and my flushes don't give results mostly. Okay, so let's look at this again, my friend. Okay. You want to think more, not so much in with the stones. You did good. You got those out. Forget that. You're done. Now, I want you to think why your gallbladder is losing its connective tissue. Acids. Remember, we got a lot of videos on this where acids leach calcium out of the connective tissue to neutralize acid, to fight acidosis. Of course, it does create hardening of the gallbladder wall, or just like the bowels can fold right over. Your colon can fold right over. Of course, a lot of you ladies know your uterus can fall right down on the bladder and fall right down, right on out the you-know-what. So, that's not good either. So, again, this is something to think about, connective tissue with this individual. And the way to go about this, my friend, is think lymphatically. Think kidneys, adrenals, the lymph system, because it's in the wall of these tissues that you want to get. It's in the wall of the gallbladder, the lymph system. Fluting a liver gallbladder flush doesn't do anything for that. It might stimulate a little action for a while. It'll fill right back up, law of homeostasis. Diffusion and things like that. Pull the dense back to the less dense. Things like that. And so, that's the wrong way of doing this. And the same thing with coffee enemas and stuff like this. Where's their thinking? These are people that don't understand what is the problem in people. And when you use a cancer therapy or something like the GEARS or something that doesn't understand what causes the problem in the first place, then their treatments are going to be wacky and not address the causative problems, and your success is half-assed. You want to go right to the core of the problem every time. Krysta. So you need fruits, berries, and melon diet. Get on the herbs. Go after your GI tract. Go after your kidneys, adrenals. Get your lymph moving. I'd be checking on my parathyroid gland. And since you've got dandruff, my concern would be pituitary a little bit there and its effect on the thyroid and parathyroids. The fact that you're seeing a little, what I consider stimulation, that might be in a better place to be, because it's better than you being all hyper or all hypo. So you might be in a good position that way. Get your sinuses drained. Candle your ears. What I'm telling all of you, open up the doors and remove that which is within, well, not your tissues, but Krysta. Hi, Krysta, honey. Hello, can you please talk about deviated septums? Ooh. It is from parathyroid. I'm sure it is. When you start seeing the mutation of tissue like that, especially your bony, skeletal, connective tissue, the parathyroid's involved. And you didn't have enough calcium to make things form properly. Now, granted, there could be some pituitary. Remember that little thymus. We don't know too much about the thymus gland in terms of growth factors, but as we've discussed a case in Miami, a child's case, there is some. Now, how that relates to the body, you can't hardly find that. I mean, we were up on the endocrinology website, and it's hard to find that out. We found one little place where we found that, but even in the endocrinology books, nothing. So, it's tough to find some information out there that we want to know, that we ask. So, I don't know, I've never had a case. where a deviated septum corrected itself, but we've had plenty of scolioses that corrected themselves. So if a scoliosis can correct itself, why couldn't a deviated septum correct itself? I'm just saying, I don't know. But those of you that are willing to live on the raw for extended periods of time will find out. Because when you talk about that level of regeneration, 100% raw is essential. Is essential. And for those that have never experienced 100% raw, just go on a diet of fruits, berries, melons, and salads, and nothing else. Everything unfired, uncooked. See the difference. And then just change one meal to a cooked meal and see how you feel. Huge difference. Huge electrical difference. A huge difference in all things. So when you notice when your fruit, when you get high in energy, you seem to go out of pain. Remember how we talked about how you cut yourself, you don't bleed, all that? And then when you lower your frequency, in comes the pain, in comes the bleed. Interesting, isn't it? It's just so interesting how frequencies and vibration and chemistry all affect all the things you're seeing. But it would, because that's the sciences that run everything that we've been able to determine. We've divided up into chemistry and physics. Basically, the two basic sciences that overshadow creation and how it runs, at least the physical universe in chemistry. So you bring up a good question. Oh, I would love to see someone reverse a deviated septum with going after the parathyroid, cleaning themselves up, because you know there's got to be a weakness, and that pituitary might be involved. You got to pull your eyes, honey, and see, just to see. Or if this is not you and someone else, get their eyes and just look and see what their eyes look like in the head area. That'd be up on in the right eye. It'd be 1 to 3, basically up in that area, and the same thing on the left side, but on this side of it, say 10 to 12, somewhere in that area, the frontal part. Makes me sleep with my mouth. It is you then. Makes me sleep with my mouth open, or or else feel like I'm suffocating. Ooh. You know, I don't know, honey. All I know is I'd probably get it fixed, but at the same time, if you don't want to go through that, you can try it. You can see. So after you get your kidneys filtering and everything moving, take a look at where you are in your eyes, how much lymph you got to deal with, and that sort of thing, to see the time frame you're going to be looking at. But you'd want to think year to 2 years. Most of the real powerful regeneration that I've seen, where you've had limbs that were distorted, straightened in a year, but I'll tell you, we've had so many ALS cases that were like this that unfolded within a few months. We had this one lady, she just straightened right up in a few months. Went from wheelchair, no talking, to walking and talking. Now, she wasn't running, but she was up and walking. So, I mean, I'm telling you, and you just keep on going, you know where you can go with these things. So it's incredible to see at least where we can go in the future with all you guys and the brains that you guys have out there. Amazing. Amazing. You guys are so smart. And you're the spiritual ones. Most of those that come to our side are the spiritual ones. And they're going to be the awake ones that are able to help the other Homo sapiens lift up out of this morass of human consciousness that's been created. So I don't know. You got two choices: fix it or that way. But you want a really good surgeon if you do that, or try and see what your body do, because your body will realign itself. But I'd be after my parathyroid. I'd be after bones formulas, pituitaries. I'd be looking at that. It'd be an interesting thing for you to take on and see what can happen with that if you can live with it. If it's affecting your breathing real bad, then you can have it fixed, and then still go off and have the body fix it up real good for you. Because the body would then just fix it real nice, and you can still breathe and everything else. So it's really up to you. Surgery isn't always the answer, going under propofol and crap like that, but then sometimes it is. A great surgeon can make your life really happy and comfortable. A great surgeon. So, I have nothing negative to say about great surgeons. I love them. They're the cat's meow. But when you're a bad surgeon and you do some bad surgeries, it's not good. And there's a lot of bad surgeons out there. I know a lot of them in this town that's not good what's come out. Oh, this is Casey. Oh, really, Casey? Oh, Casey Berry. Oh, Casey Berry. I would like to ask Dr. Morse about going bald and growing hair on my face. Oh, wow. My recent 24 urine test has elevated 5A reductase. This is on 3 years of tests, maybe more. I also have low DHEA, testosterone, androsterone, and who the hell that one? I never could pronounce that one. That's a major one. If I have high 5A reductase, why does it show low testosterone? I can't answer that one. I don't follow the 5A reductase. I don't play in that field of dreams. If you're low in testosterone, that's your adrenal glands. And it might correspond with a low blood pressure if you have that. But that one could give you also, I mean, and there are different parts of the cortex that does these things, but you could conceivably have low testosterone, higher estrogen and progesterone. You could conceivably just have low testosterone but okay estrogen, or you could have them all low. I mean, there's all kinds of shakes. But this would tell me that you're having low adrenal function, how I would look at it. Because I don't get into the reductase stuff like that. I don't get into that. I don't follow that flow. No way. Those things are brain teasers, and I don't follow them because it leads to nowhere. Tests show, and another thing with tests, another problem with tests, especially when it is steroids, there's very few of them that are halfway even accurate. So it's a little scary that way. And besides, when you get into the adrenals and stuff, if you are running a little low in testosterone, estrogen, you're going to bring everything up to balance because you're making tissue healthy that produces these things. Tests show, and you're removing any lymph stagnation that's suppressing those cells from producing these things. Because you start building up a lot of lymph, we call that a mass. And you can imagine a mass building up around an adrenal gland or somewhere, which is very common. You start suppressing its function. Shows cortisone ratio 0.66. Do I have tumors in my pituitary? Interesting question that you have there, young lady. That's an interesting question. I don't know. You know what? Pull a copy of your eyes, picture of your eyes, take a look at it and see what you got going on up there in the pituitary, because that's just where I'm thinking. You're right on. Pituitary adrenal glands. You know, you want to take a look at that. And take a look also while you're there. Look at the parathyroid, thyroid. Look at those symptomologies in you as well. Well, you know that going bald and things like this is high acidosis in the head area, means lymph stagnation. So that could be suppressing pituitary function and therefore seeing that residual kick down to the testosterone. I mean, that's why when you get into these sort of things, you can't chase the reductase type of chain. You just want to get in and make the body healthy. Go into the adrenals, you got to anyway. Because it isn't about individual steroids or hormones. These are steroids, so it's not about individual steroids. It's about making the whole body healthy as a unit, so that whatever need you have of whatever, estrogen, testosterone, progesterone, its neutralizers and things like that, you supply adequately for the level of activity and the level of consciousness your body is at and the level of health that it's at. See, you know, when you're looking at the average human, they're so unhealthy and they have a lot of degeneration and chronicness to their bodies that you can't use that as a guide for anything. We need to find someone that's been a fruitarian for a while, look at their eyes and see how straight they're by, and see if we can find a true guide to go by. I wish I'd had the strength to have been a fruitarian for 40 years. But I didn't. I was soaring in the sky. Do I have? I don't know about tumors, but you could have a lot of lymph, which lacks like a tumor. Of course, that's what a tumor's made of, course, and it's suppressing that function of that. Absolutely. Remember, the pituitary is tied to the transverse bowel here, and take a look at that as well, because that's why we go after the body together. We go after the bowels. We go after the kidneys. We go after the glands. They all work together. Nobody's successful that just takes this and then goes to the kidneys, then I think I'll work on the heart next, and then I think I'll work on it. No, it doesn't work that way. You want to power up and hit the body straight forward. Then the body's going bam, 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 wake up, boom. But a little at a time, we'll hit over here, then we'll go over here. Yeah, that's what you get. So I don't know, but you're a wise woman. I like how you're thinking. You're being awake. So, but up here, upper circulation, you got to get on upper circulation, start spawning more hair. That's for sure if you're a lady particularly, but everybody, but upper circ, but get your sinuses drained, get everything working, the neurolymphatics, try to get yourself opened up, honey. Work after those bowels and just make your adrenals healthy. Because you're doing, like you said, you're doing the adrenals and pituitary. You hit it right on. I really love you guys. You guys are hitting it right on. I tell you, to see the awareness of the humans raise in health is exciting to me. And you guys are just an exciting bunch of good humans. I'm just gonna got one more, just one more. It's raining like crazy. We have so much rain down here, and the humidity, of course, is 100%. This is from James Moore. James, good day, James, to you, my friend. I have watched most of your videos, so that's got to be horrible. But I can't find one on high red blood cell count. Oh, interesting, huh? Do you have one on that? No, I don't have one. If not, could you please this issue? I'll do it right now, James. What do we call that? Hemiocytosis. What is it where you have elevated red blood cells? I've had several cases, not a lot of them, because not a lot of. At least I don't have a lot of people that came to me with that, but have had a few cases in my life. And I'll be honest with you, in just detoxifying the person, everything balances out. Anything that's stimulated, you clean the spleen out. That's definitely a place you want to go, is your spleen and liver. So you clean the liver and spleen up really nice. You get your bone marrow cleaned up. You start moving your lymph out. When you're looking where things are either hyper stimulated or hyperproduced or underproduced, you know that stimulation is behind that. So immediately you're starting to look at what side of chemistry is involved. Well, there's only two sides, so we know the acids are involved. Okay, now you have the two fluid-based systems that kind of go with the two sides of chemistry. So okay, now I'm in the lymph system again. That's where I would go. I would do the 14-week protocol, and about the second month, hit the spleen formula for about a month. We're already on the liver gallbladder formula for during that time. So that'll clean you up, and that'll bring all those reds right down into normal. Never had a problem. In the few cases that I've probably had 3 or 4, which is not much, but it's not something I get a lot of, but it's something that I've never had a problem with, let's put it that way. So I don't think you should have a problem with that. Now take a look at your eyes, take a look at the liver area, but particularly go over to the spleen and see if you don't have something going on there. Remember, these are branches off the GI tract, so therefore you want to go after the GI tract. But remember, even the GI tract is just a bunch of cells sitting there with blood and lymph filtering through them or around them, the cells, interstitial spaces around them. So when stagnation exists with the lymph, there's reduced flow of your interstitial fluid, and then to the point where very stagnation. And then, of course, blood flow to those tissues are affected. And then, of course, that's ischemic changes, and then other factors happen. Depends on the tissues involved, whether it's heart or lungs or brain or wherever, to what your experience is going to be with that. But I'll come in tomorrow and finish up doing a lot of videos. I just wanted to address this poor soul that it was her time to leave, but the man was pretty irate about it and saying things that weren't true. And I think it's important for all of us to realize that. Enjoy every moment for what it is, but connect to yourself to where that's your reality, because in reality, that's all you have is yourself. Not narcissistically, but in reality. There's only consciousness, the one. It only appears like we have the multitudes. That's the grand illusion that the one promotes with duality. But it's something to do. Love you guys. Keep on learning. You guys are growing and just great questions. I just love them and appreciate all the hard work you guys are doing on yourselves and on others out there. It's amazing with the testimonials, and I love you all. Good job. Good job. Got a big world to deal with here, but good job, guys. And you mamas and dads taking care of your kids, you're making the future of the planet a whole lot better. You just got to realize what you're doing and helping your kids to get healthy. It's amazing. So much love to all of you guys.